Hi. Okay, so let me start today with two personal stories because fear wears many faces. And sometimes it's trying to protect us, other times it's trying to keep us living small. So, my first story, there was a time in my life when I was in a relationship that looked okay on the surface, but underneath, something felt really off, deeply wrong. Fear began to whisper, not with shame, but with wisdom. Tracy, you're shrinking in this space. You're making yourself small so that you don't ruffle feathers or create tensions. And this is costing you. The bottom line is, Tracy, you don't feel safe. And that really matters. And I ignored it. I told myself that I was overreacting, that more prayer, more patience, more spiritual strength would change this relationship. But that fear, it turned out to be something quite sacred, protective, an invitation to stop over spiritualizing the dysfunction of that relationship and start honoring truth. Not all fear means don't go forward. Sometimes it means, babe, you need to actually walk away. You need to walk away from this. The second story was a number of years later. I was standing in front of a room about to share God-given, I felt God-breathed vision that I'd carried for months. I'd planned, I'd strategized, I'd sent emails, I had everything formulated, but now I needed to present it to the leadership team. And it felt vulnerable. It felt really scary. There was risk associated with this. And again, I felt that fear response, the physiological fear response. This time, the internal narrative sounded like, what if they don't get it? What if they reject what you're saying? What if they reject you? But instead of shrinking, choosing to be small, I listened to another voice. And that voice said, this vision isn't yours to protect, it's yours to release. So I spoke with a very nervous and trembling voice, but a really steady soul. And I learned something that I'll never forget. Courage isn't what happens when fear disappears. It's what happens when you move anyway. Feel the fear, but move anyway. Hi, my name's Tracy. I always say this, one half of Coach Aligned. I promise I will get Darlene here soon, one day soon, I promise. I'm a qualified counselor, coach, also been a pastor for many years, and yes, recovering control freak. This space, Coach Aligned, is where we have really honest coaching conversations about what it means to be everyday women living everyday lives, but living aligned with your deepest desires and God's divine purpose. And today we're talking about how to walk boldly even when fear is still in the room. We started to touch on that a little bit last video, but we're going to move into that today. See, the Bible doesn't celebrate fearlessness. It celebrates people who chose obedience in the middle of fear, in the middle of being afraid. Proverbs 28:1, the righteous are as bold as a lion. Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God goes with you. Hebrews 10:39, we are not of those who shrink back, but of those who have faith. So God doesn't need you to be unshaken or unshakable even. He just invites you to keep showing up. So, what do you do when you want to walk forward, but the fear still lingers? And remember, we're talking about the physiological sensation of being afraid. So the physiology married with the internal narrative. What do you do when fear is still lingering? And so here's 3 really practical ways to walk with God even when you feel scared. So the first thing is to name the fear. Get really good at expressing fear emotions. So name the fear, don't numb it, is my little title here. Ask yourself, what is this fear actually saying? Because when you name it, like me and the vision, I'm actually afraid of failure, or I'm afraid of being seen, that this is actually something that's really important to me. Trust me, fear starts to lose its grip. A 2022 study found that naming your fear reduces activity in your brain's fear center that sits at the back of your brain. So naming is actually regulating. So you feel it, you feel that fear response in your body, pause, get curious, ask, what is this fear actually saying to me? The second thing that you can do is take the small, brave step. Babe, you don't need to make big steps. You don't need to take a quantum leap. You just need to move. Courage comes through action. Say that thing that you need to say, even if your voice trembles. Write the email. Write it. You can have it sit there in your drafts for a little minute. Go back, re-edit, send it off. Start the conversation. Bravery is built in motion. The third thing you can do is anchor yourself in who God says you are. Fear will try to name you. It'll try to label you. That internal dialogue will want to name maybe unqualified or too much or you're not enough. But Scripture names you as chosen, called, equipped, not alone. So speak it out and let your spirit lead your nervous system. Friend, you don't need to feel bold to walk boldly. Your obedience, this is what obedience can sometimes look like. It's not the big things, it's the little everyday brave moves that you make, the small, brave, bold moves that you make. Your obedience still counts even when your voice shakes. Your yes does matter even if your hands are trembling. God isn't waiting for your fear to leave. He's just waiting for your next step. That's all it takes, just one next step. So to support you on your journey, we've created a free resource for women like us. We love Jesus. We're learning more and more about how to listen to what our body is telling us without shame, without discrimination, without judgment. It's called Overcome Fear with Faith and Neuroscience. It's really simple, really easy to read. It's got lots of practical tools that are biblically grounded and also informed by neuroscience. I am not a neuroscientist, guys, okay? Let me just put that out front. But I am a therapist and I work with these tools, these strategies every day in my workplace. You'll learn how fear shows up in your nervous system, how your faith can help you regulate your body. Some of your spiritual practices will help you regulate your body in a way that can bring you back, center you on peace, not just in theory, but in your own lived experience. You can download it for free. You can use the link in our bio, or if you have signed up to anything else that we've done in the past, your email address will be with Coach Aligned, and so you'll get an email talking about this video and you'll also get a link. Subscribe to the channel. You won't miss what's coming up next, but it's just really lovely to see the subscriptions grow. We're continuing this journey of clarity, courage, and calling within the context of fear. And our next video is actually the final one in Make Fear Your Friend series. And we're going to be talking about why the goal isn't to eliminate fear, but to walk through it. And comment below. It would be really lovely to get some conversations and some feedback happening in the comments. I just want to remind you that you're braver than you think you are. You're doing better than you think you are. And till the next video, stay strong and awesome and amazing as you are.